Lindsey, your mic's on mute.
Well,
Normally,
and that's exactly how tonight went for everybody.
normally it automatically unmutes. So welcome in to the PHNX Suns postgame show, brought to you by our friends at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button wherever you get your podcast and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Lindsey Smith here with Saul Bookman and Espo. Gerald Bourget will try to join us later on in the show. Unfortunately, we are hanging out in the dive bar once again because the Phoenix Suns drop one to the Oklahoma City Thunder, losing 117-96. So guys, history's going to have to wait even longer for this team. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say they did this intentionally so they could set the franchise record for wins in a season at home. That's what I'm going with.
Hold on. At home and against the Lakers. Let's not overlook the opponent. That's the home game. So if you can do it at home against the Lakers and put an ass whooping on LA, I'm all right with these last two games. This one was a weird one, though. It was like a flip of last game where they struggled at the start, and then they were fine at the start in this game, and then struggled in that second half. It was just it was not good.
Listen, you're gonna put the nail in the coffin of the Lakers on Tuesday night. I'm sure most of the guys will be playing. It'll be fine. Like everybody's talking about, oh, we need to, have a good groove going into the playoffs. Like, dude, these guys, they're well-seasoned vets, man. They're not worried about that. They're gonna do their job. They're gonna get into a good flow right before they hit the playoffs. It'll be fine. I don't give a fuck about a useless game against Memphis or against OKC, and neither did the guys. Like, honestly, if I didn't have to work and do this show, I wouldn't even watch the game because it was that useless. Like, there was nothing to gain from that game outside of maybe an injury. That's it.
Well, let's go ahead and just get right on into it then. Espo, take us to the bar as we kind of break this one down.
Let's go to the bar. Okay, cease and desist. It's just, just please stop. At least it's over, and that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, this one, for me, there were no highlights that came out of this one. Typically, we're able to find some bright spots or a particular player or two who did shine. For me in this one, it was just trash the whole way through. There were no highlights to pull out of this one. OKC shot exceptionally well from the three-point line, which they don't normally do for one, and the Suns don't normally allow. That was really disappointing. And then the Suns couldn't buy a bucket to save their lives. And I also feel like the Suns' effort really just wasn't there. And I think that surprised me the most because pregame, that was something that Monty had talked about when he was asked sort of like, when you have a game where you're intentionally resting two of your starters and then another one of your starters, and Jay Crowder is out kind of with a little bit of an injury, if you will, but essentially rest, right? You're resting three of your starters. His focus was rebounding and intensity and playing their style of basketball. And they didn't do that. And yeah, sure, there's nothing to be worried about, but I also feel like this team should still be able to play well. You know what I mean? Even if the effort and the intensity isn't there, they should still be able to play well. And I don't think this was that.
But I think it's multiple things, right? Effort wasn't there, which is why they get out rebounded. It's why, that defensively they didn't play the way that they usually do. And also, I think these guys, at least the starters, and some of the key bench guys, have that thought in their mind: just don't get injured, right? Just don't get injured. I mean, I think that's why you go. You shoot 38 threes when you're shooting, an 18.4% for the game instead of driving and trying to get that rhythm offensively. It's because when do you usually get injured? When you're cutting to the hoop, when you're trying to get in there and you're, getting physical and stuff. What I think the miscalculation was today was they should have rested all the starters if you're going to rest people, and let the bench, the guys that are hungry, the guys that are trying to prove something still to themselves or to the team, to play these minutes against OKC, which was a bunch of guys that were just simply trying to prove that they deserve a spot in the league next year. So I think that was the miscalculation here. Don't play the guys that have anything to lose moving forward.
I get what you're saying, but I also feel like Chris Paul wanted to play. Chris Paul wants to get his rhythm back. I'm pretty sure he said that. And then Cam Johnson, I know he's not a starter, but he needs to play. And then Mikal Bridges, he's not going to willingly sit out and lose that streak. Like, I just think those three things are
play him
important.
3 minutes. Play him 3 minutes. He still has a streak. It's game started. That's the streak. And then take him out. Chris Paul, is he really getting the rhythm that he needs by not playing with his usual starters and playing with other guys? I don't think so. I agree with you on Cam. Cam needs to work out whatever's going on. You saw him hit a few late. Maybe that's a positive to come out of this, but there's nothing to be gained from playing these guys at this point. If you're going to rest, 3/5 of your starting lineup, just rest all of them. Outside of Mikal getting his token minutes.
Okay, so let me give you your opportunity real quick. I'm going to set you up. Let me give you your opportunity because I've taken my shot at this game, but you have not yet. So it's time for you to take your shot. Presented by Arizona Department of Health Services. COVID-19 vaccines are free for everyone 5 and older. Those 12 and older are also now eligible for a booster. Visit azhealth.gov for a location near you.
I'm not jumping off the bridge over a game against OKC. It's just the most useless thing to even stress out about. Listen, you can tell. You guys just pointed out Chris Paul, all right, and him getting back into the flow of things. Look at Chris Paul's demeanor. Look at his demeanor throughout the entire game. Not really assertive, not really demonstrative, not really yelling at guys, not really getting them in the right place. Just kind of going through the motions, because he doesn't care. He just is trying to get back into a good basketball rhythm. Nice flow, get your win back up into the games. But other than that, it's a useless game. And so it's a practice game for these guys right now. And I agree with Espo. Like, listen, 38 threes tells you they're not trying to force themselves into the paint whatsoever. And honestly, it's kind of hard not to ignore that. Like, I just don't feel like this team is invested at the moment in winning meaningless basketball games that really don't do anything outside of maybe breaking the franchise record, which they're going to have like 3 or 4 more opportunities to do before the end of the season. So if you didn't like tonight, I'm going to say this, maybe outside of Tuesday, you're going to see the same thing for the next 3 games after that. Maybe the game before, they'll play a half really hard, get into the good flow, and then they'll bench everybody. But this is probably what you're going to see for the rest of the season because there's nothing to play for anymore. And that's the benefit of being the best team in the NBA.
COVID-19 vaccines are free for everyone 5 and older. Those 12 and older are also now eligible for a booster. Visit azhealth.gov for a location near you. I totally agree with you, Saul. I do. But I also think that, like, I don't know. It didn't even feel like they enjoyed playing tonight.
No, I don't think they did.
But I don't think they did. I mean, I don't know. I mean, wouldn't you think, though, like, you still have some sense of a little bit of pride?
I'll say this.
Or does that just go all the way out the door when you're at this point? I don't know. I've never been here.
I'll say this. And this is on such a small level. I promise you that, okay? But in high school, we were the best team in state at the time. We were 25-3, and we had to go all the way out to fucking Yuma to play a basketball game that was absolutely meaningless. And we almost lost that game. We almost lost at the buzzer to the worst team in high school sports, period. It was like, I don't want to be here right now. We're just playing to play, get a good rhythm. And then other teams, they step their game up because they see an opportunity in front of them. Sometimes it's just how it goes.
Well, look, Lindsey, you didn't even want to be here pregame. We have visual proof of it. Shane, can you show the visual proof we have of Lindsey not wanting to be here pregame?
Oh!
Look at her. She was at the Grammys. Rocking the pink beanie, not even wanting to be here. I don't even know how she showed up for post game, but she didn't even want to be here.
Okay, I gotta get a pink beanie because I like that look. I'm not even gonna lie. I gotta get a hot pink beanie now.
That's actually Justin Bieber at the Grammys.
If you need an oversized suit, you can ask Espo or myself. We have plenty of them.
Perfect. We'll make this look happen in real life.
That was Justin Bieber rocking the 2003 NBA draft look. That's what he's rocking at the.
Don't you disrespect Jalen Rose like that.
I mean, listen, I totally get what you guys are saying, but I do think it is okay to have a little bit of frustration. Because I mean, I guess then give us the heads up. And maybe the heads up was, hey, DA and Book are sitting. That's your heads up to not tune in.
Lindsey,
I don't know.
Why don't you come over to the couch and lay down? I think it's time for a therapy session for some of the people here.
I'm not off the edge, Espo. I just want to make that clear, okay?
First of all, why is Espo the therapist? He is
I don't know.
he is the Dr. Kevorkian of therapists.
Hey,
I promise
look,
you this.
I'm not murdering anybody. I've murdered hopes and dreams, but I'm not murdering humans.
Oh man.
And the reason why I'm the therapist is because I know all about the psychosis that we all have, right? If you're an expert on having it, you know how to talk to people about it. And I want to talk to not Lindsey. I understand, Lindsey,
it's okay.
that you
go for it, Espo.
that you're okay. But look, I want to talk to somebody like Derek here in the chat who says, please, PHNX team, do not say, relax, Arizona Spurs fans. You're just traumatized from decades of lived experience. The Suns are elite, don't worry. End quote. It's intellectually dishonest. And then Derek goes on to say later in the chat, it could be a useless game. It could be they phoned it in with 3 starters out and coming off injuries. It could be a senior slump, but it also may not be. Kool-Aid's unhealthy. The last thing is factually true. Kool-Aid is unhealthy. But the rest of it, Derek, I feel you, man. I understand that there's fear. You know, I understand that you've been hurt. You've been hurt before. But look, the last 2 games, most human beings and sports teams wouldn't get up for. Memphis sat out all their big names. Oklahoma City doesn't have any big names, and they sat out those guys to have even lesser big names playing in this game. What is there to be gained right now for this Suns team? I don't see it. I don't understand it. You know, like I said, I'd much rather have Monty just sit everybody and let the Ife Lundbergs of the world, I can't say, I was going to say the Alfred Paytons of the world, but I can't go that far. The Ish Wainwrights of the world, you know, those guys play these minutes. I don't see why we need to freak out about 2 losses after the 1 seed was locked up. I understand the chance to set the record all time is there, but it's still there. They'll do it. They're not losing out the rest of the way. I don't see why there is a freak out. So calm down. Everybody take a breath. I'm going to tell you, meditating does wonders in these kind of times. This isn't the 2018 Suns. If I were looking at 2 games and I wanted to make, a freak out happen, I could. But I've seen the 62 other wins that happened this year. And that's enough evidence to prove that these 2 losses mean absolutely nothing.
Dude, 62 games. 62 games. Like you're not able to see the forest for the trees. You know what I mean? Like we just got to stop panicking. Like it's not like all of a sudden April turned to a month and all of a sudden these guys just forgot how to play basketball. That's not what's going on. There's some very basic things that they're running on offense. Defensively, very sloppy. Rebounding wise, very sloppy. Yes, those things should never happen. So in regards to concentration, that needs to be shored up. But offensively, it's just very basic. And I don't think it's intellectually dishonest to say that these guys don't really give a shit right now. Their eyes are on the end of the season. They're looking for the playoffs. They're looking to do something that nobody in this franchise has ever done, ever. And they're about to do something else that nobody has ever done. I assume they're going to get that 63rd win, but at this point, I don't even know if that's going to happen. And honestly, I don't think these players really care that much about it. They know it exists. Sure, they want to get it, but I think they're just more focused on just doing what they need to do to stay in a good rhythm and then moving on.
Well, there's 4 games left for the Suns in the regular season. I would be really upset if they lost 6 in a row to end the season. I'm just going to say that. Like, regardless if it's meaningful or not, I'm going to be pissed if they lose 6 in a row. But I think for me, where I'm feeling right now is exactly what Chris said in the chat, which is we can quote, not be worried and also acknowledge that this feels gross. And I think that's where I'm at. I'm not worried. I'm not concerned that the Suns can't flip the switch and turn it on when it's meaningful basketball. But I don't appreciate having to watch this type of basketball from the Suns.
That's fair.
Like, this was a waste of my Sunday afternoon. And I don't think that's fair to people who pay to show up for the games, to people who tune into the broadcast and watch the games. Don't waste our time.
Lindsey,
Trust me, I was about to email or text all of you and say, do we really want to do this post game? Because I'm not really feeling it either. This was an absolute horrible game to watch. It's like watching a really, 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 really bad movie that everybody hyped up. It's like watching Lord of the Rings all over again. No.
Look, people are talking about, you're not concerned about the wings not boxing out and the guards not boxing out. No, I'm not concerned because it's an effort and a mentality thing, right? And once you realize you've reached your regular season goal and you've become the best team in the NBA and you have that locked down as early as they did, I get it. I get why the mental effort isn't necessarily there. And I don't think a handful of games going into the playoffs leads to bad habits. I just don't see it. This team is good. They're going to come out as a different team on Tuesday against the Lakers at home. You know Monty's going to get in their ear and tell them, all right, enough of this. You guys need to show up and show out on Tuesday. Let's set that record. Let's leave a good taste in our fans' mouth in one of our 2 final home games. This has not been up to our standard. And I agree with all that. This doesn't feel good to watch crappy basketball, but I also understand, like Chris said, it's not that big of a deal. You can understand both things at the same time. There's not an excuse, there are excuses as to why you'd play this way, and you hope that they wouldn't lose to OKC like that, but it's not in the big picture that big of a deal. I'm not going to freak out as much as the chat, I think, wants us all to freak out and go Stephen A. Smith screaming how the Suns championship window may be closing right now. It's not that. It just isn't, and it won't be. So
you're not even going to appease them a little bit?
No, what? Why? Why do we think
I'm just teasing?
No, but honestly, like Sydney in the chat says, going to the playoffs with a losing attitude, going into it with a complete loss of winning mentality, that's not a good strategy. That's not what this is.
No.
This team isn't losing the ability to win. They just understand that the biggest loss that they could take, the biggest L that could happen right now, is one of their main stars getting injured in a pointless game. That's the L that would be the thing you can't take. All right.
Okay.
Or Andrew Martinez. We pull that comment back up. Andrew Martinez, the Suns need to get it together. This is all caps, by the way. The Suns need to get it together. Look what happened last year. They didn't win the chimps. Like, I agree. They didn't win the chimps. And they didn't win the championship either. But again, like, it's going to be okay. Listen, this team started off 1-3, and half the chat was, oh my God, this is awful. Last year might have been a fluke. And half the chat was like, it's going to be all right. And I said, it's going to be okay. They're 1-3, but they'll figure it out. And they did. They went on, a 20-plus game win streak after that. Like, it's fine. They didn't forget how to win all of a sudden. It's just, this is the part of the season where it's kind of a slug, and you just try to get through it because you've already sealed up everything. You set all these goals before the season, and you've accomplished every single goal up until now. Now it's about the playoffs. That's all that's left for this team, and that's all they're focused on.
Okay, I have a question because we've been talking a lot about like not wanting to get injured and making it to the playoffs healthy. Like don't put yourself in a situation in these next handful of games to be injured. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I hear a majority of people who actually like play or around the team. What I've heard is you get injured when you start being relaxed. You get injured when you're cutting corners more so than you do when you play legitimate, like your style basketball. Am I misremembering all of those conversations? Or because that is something that I'm a little bit worried about. That I feel like that's what I have heard more often than not.
You can't play hesitant. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Espo.
Just to say that's why they sat Ayton and Booker and Jay Crowder tonight, because they understand that mentality isn't fully there to go full bore. So rest them. I'm sure at some point Chris Paul, will get some rest. Mikal won't play a full game. It's going to happen with the entire lineup over the next 4 games.
Yep.
All right. Well, hopefully Gerald will join us, but I'm going to drop a little bit of nugget from what he just tweeted out from Chris Paul. Chris said, can't look too much into it and can't take it too lightly either. And I feel like that is a great example of the mixed bag of emotions we are all feeling right now. Is that, yes, on one side of the coin, it's not really that big of a deal. We can't read into this too much. But on the other side of the coin, we can't take it too lightly to where this becomes something that could become a habit of sorts.
Chris Paul's been in the league for 16 plus years. If that's what he says, then that's what everybody should do. It's like, it's not a big deal. They lost. Who cares? Some of the things that they did on the court need to be rectified no matter what. It doesn't matter what point of the season it is. Like I said, defensive effort and rebounding were two of the things that were my biggest takeaways. But outside of that, hey, don't read too much into it. They're going to be fine.
Chris Paul's quote to me said, just come watch us on Tuesday against the Lakers. You'll see a different brand of basketball. I feel like that was what that quote was. And they're not going to shoot 18% from 3. Like, that's just an outlier. That's a big reason why. And then you look at freaking Oklahoma City shot 41.5% from 3. It's just, that's not going to happen. It's an outlier. Throw it out.
Listen, they might come out on Tuesday and blow out the Lakers and then lose the next 3 because they're going to be resting guys all the way until the end of the season. Like, we should probably be prepared for something like that.
All right. Any final thoughts on just overall this game and kind of emotions around it before we get into some more of the actual legitimate topics?
I will say this, man. People are upset when they lose more than a game. Man, I'm
Saul, we have nice things. We want to keep those nice things. We're not ready to give them up just yet.
It's still nice. It's still nice. Like, I promise. It's just, what
Today
it is right now.
Feel nice.
All it is right now is you just took your nice fancy Benz in to get an oil change. It's just in the shop. It's coming right back, though. It'll be all right.
Unfortunately, they gave you a Hyundai to drive while your Benz is in the shop. That's what I think people are a little uncomfortable about is, how did I go from this luxury to whatever the hell this is I'm driving right now?
That was a good question. Can you bring up that last comment about the Lakers? Do we mathematically eliminate the Lakers if we win Tuesday? Haven't checked the standings in forever. We don't mathematically eliminate them, but should the Suns win on Tuesday, meaning the Lakers lose, and the Spurs win one more game, I think it would be mathematically impossible because both teams would have 3 games left, and the Spurs would hold a 3-game advantage, and the Spurs own the tiebreaker. So the Lakers would mathematically be eliminated.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Espo.
I was just to say, if we want to talk about something that actually is a bit concerning, like, I don't want to act like nothing about this game is, I'm a little concerned about Cam Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Goes 4 of 15, 2 of 11 from behind the arc. Didn't have that kind of spring that we saw. He had we thought we were going to get him to posterize a guy, and nope, that didn't happen. He kind of just ran out of gas. I'm a little concerned. I need to see him get back in a bit of a rhythm over these next 3 or 4 games, so we don't get this kind of performance in the playoffs from Cam, because that's the kind of thing that could screw up things. If he does not find his rhythm, find himself again before that first round.
My other thing is and Jonathan says in the chat, Holiday needs minutes. I absolutely love watching the way he plays. He has great defense, and we haven't seen Aaron Holiday very much in the last couple games. And when you're coming down the stretch of the season, and you need some effort guys out there, I do agree. Like, we should have seen Aaron Holiday a little bit more than we have. We play the two guard lineup a lot with Chris Paul and Cam Payne from time to time. I would like to see that with Cam Payne and Aaron Holiday, to be honest with you. And I think we'll probably see that quite a bit here in the last 4 games.
Yeah, as far as Cam goes, I think Cam Johnson anyway, I am a little bit concerned for him. I'm not concerned long term, but I'm just concerned how much time does he need to be able to get back into game shape, because he missed quite a few games, and that injury was obviously very far more severe than anybody, I think, anticipated it being. So the only concern is just how long will it take, not will it happen.
It took him the better part of over half a season just to get into a nice, solid groove, and then he got hurt. I don't know. My feeling on Cam is whatever we get in the playoffs is a bonus, but I don't know if we're going to get the same kind of Cam that ended that was rounding into form quickly. I think it's going to take him a couple weeks.
Yeah, in the fourth, he did have that 30-foot three-pointer that was wet, and he hit another one late in the game. So maybe he's turning that corner, because it looked like early he had no legs. The last two games couldn't get that shot. It was coming off flat. So, I mean, when you hit from 30 like that, maybe it gives him a little confidence. Maybe that's a positive takeaway too.
Yeah, because you could tell after that first three-pointer went in for him, he shook his head, like almost like, a little bit of frustration, maybe a little bit of relief, all kind of mixed together into one bag. It was just kind of like, damn, it's about time.
It felt like he was kind of telling himself, trust your leg, like it's okay, like you're fine. Right. You know what I mean? Sometimes that happens when you get a major injury to your legs, especially. It takes some time to kind of build that confidence back in there, and trust that every move you make isn't going to hurt. And then when you go up to shoot, thinking about all these little different things that could go on. So I think he's going to be just fine. It's just going to take a little bit of time. I'm hoping that this next week he'll round back into form right in time for the playoffs, because we're going to definitely need him.
I agree, because right before he did come back, when he spoke with the media, he said the biggest thing for him was just getting comfortable with ground contact. So that's exactly in line with that. Is he's still like he didn't, if this is a second game to really test that out, what that feels like for him, what those movements do they have any jolts of pain, residual pain in there, or does he feel fully comfortable, and is he getting confident in the fact that leg is good? So that's exactly what he said before he came back into game. Bailey
Lyons in the chat is very, very much on the Booker Hulu stardom coming this upcoming week. she's like, this is going to be a huge, huge week.
Is this because the Kardashian show is starting? Is that what that is?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
But one last thought on Cam. And I mentioned that dunk that he didn't get. To me, that showed that he's feeling a little bit more confident in the leg, even though it didn't work, right? Because if he was truly hesitant, he wouldn't have even attempted to try to go up for that dunk. So at least the confidence, the thought that he's trusting that leg is there for him. Now we just need to see it come to fruition and complete.
Also, side note, do you guys watch the Kardashians?
I will, with Book in it now.
I mean, listen, I'll be honest. Whenever I travel, I end up watching it because of what's available, or when it was on E anyway. What was available in hotel rooms was like E and USA, and that's it. So I watched it a lot when I traveled, and I got a little bit hooked, but I don't watch it religiously. But I might tap in a few times here and there to see if Devin has a cameo or not.
What shitty hotels were you in? That they only had E and USA Network. I mean, you couldn't even get a Showtime or an HBO, nothing.
I mean, they might have been there. I don't know. I just wasn't paying attention, but they definitely weren't shitty hotels, Espo. You've traveled with the team too. You know they weren't.
I know. I like how he says it like he has no idea what kind of hotels you would stay in, possibly. Like, bro, you traveled too. What are you talking about?
I don't know if she was traveling on her own, like if she was talking about non-team travel, because I know for a fact those team hotels had every channel you could want. So I think this is a cover where Lindsey just really wanted an excuse to watch the Kardashians and clicked 2 channels and went, oh, they only have E. I guess I'll watch this.
It was always reruns of Kardashians or Law and Order. That's what was on. Espo, I don't know. Maybe they changed it and they started charging for Showtime and HBO at these fancy hotels. And Lord knows I'm not paying that just to watch a show. Like, I'll just watch Instagram instead. Anyway, so Saul, you had mentioned that you wanted to see Cam Payne and Aaron Holiday kind of get some run together more here in this later part of the season. Speaking of Aaron, are you guys concerned at all? Like, what is the Elfrid Payton getting the nod ahead of Aaron Holiday still to this point? Is it still them trying to figure out the final rotation spot, or is Elfrid ahead of Aaron in the rotation at this point? What are you guys, what side of the fence are you on?
God help us if Alfred's ahead of Aaron in the rotation. God help us.
Yeah, Monty would have had to have lost some kind of bet somewhere along the way for that to be the case. It has to be that they're trying to figure out if Elfrid should be on that playoff roster, if Ish Wainwright should take that spot, if maybe Iffy Lundberg, depending on how he's looked in practice, if he should be that guy. I just don't see a world where it makes any sense that Elfrid Payton would be ahead of Aaron Holiday in the rotation. It makes no sense. So this has got to be something else going on with it. Like
I can't wait for that Iffy Lundberg Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals entry. I can't wait for that. Let's go. He's not going to play the whole playoffs, but that Game 3, baby, let's do it.
Okay, that was one thing that I also was a little bit upset about tonight. Like, we clearly, like, people weren't, the energy wasn't there, the effort wasn't there. Why not throw Ife in there longer than 4 minutes?
Yeah.
Why not?
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, it probably should have just been like, this is pretty obvious. This isn't going our way early in the fourth, and said, Chris, come to the bench. Let's get Ife, let's get Aaron out there. Let's just let these guys run in case we wind up needing them. That's the other thing here. I don't know why you wouldn't play some of these third or fourth string guys more minutes just in case you do have to use them in the playoffs, because we saw it last year. Frank went MIA for a long time, and then due to injuries, they had to bring him out in the finals. Like, if you've got the opportunity, give these guys some runs. So in case you have to, you're not bringing a guy who hasn't played significant minutes in months.
Agreed. 1,000,000% agree. And plus, like, Monty should know, like, and this is my only beef with Monty tonight, is that he should know the pulse of his team, and he should know that, like, these guys just were not feeling it at all. And when you see that, like, why put those guys back out there? Let the scrubs come in and get some run. Like, that's the whole point. Like, let them get some run. Maybe they pull you back in. Maybe they win the game. So now they have that confidence and they can move forward, and it's just a benefit to the team. I don't understand Chris Paul being in there with 6 minutes left to go and you're still down by 20. What's the point of this?
I feel the exact same way. I'm right there with you.
Is none.
What was the point of this?
I got 10% left on my phone. I know that. So we better want to hurry up.
You're supposed to have a portable charger, Saul. Let's go ahead and name our DraftKings king of the game. Espo, you chose tonight, so you tell us who it's going to be.
I told Shane, just leave the template up. That's fine. So it's no one, and you can enter text here in the stat area. But the crown placement, spectacular on the faceless individual.
Honestly, I mean, there just wasn't anybody or any moment in this game to really highlight. So I think we were all in pretty much agreement there that, like, tonight just wasn't the night for that.
Nope.
Crowns are supposed to be special. We can't just hand them out on every single night, at least not in this season, right? Not in this season of basketball that we're used to.
Yeah, there's no flowers tonight either. Sorry to disappoint everybody, but I think that's the case too.
I will say, though, that anybody out there who took the Thunder on the DraftKings app over the Suns made some pretty nice money tonight, because they believe, what was it, a plus 800 going into tonight's game. So they probably made some nice coin there. And if you guys want to get in on the action for some college basketball, which is happening soon, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use promo code PHNX when you sign up. And if you bet $5 on any college hoops team to win, and they do, you're going to get $200 in free bets. It is that simple. When they win, you win with the DraftKings Sportsbook app. If you're already a current user of the DraftKings Sportsbook app, make sure you check out same game parlays, because with those, you can combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. And the more legs you add, the more money you can win. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use promo code PHNX. Bet $5 on any college hoops team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. Just a reminder, that is 21 and older only, Arizona only. Gambling problem, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Minimum $5 minimum deposit. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details.
I want to bring up, so we talk about losing down the stretch, right? I looked this up and it's it's a quick look up here, but the 97-98 Bulls, we agree that was a very great team, right?
Yeah, they won the championship, of course.
Yeah, they won 63 games, won the championship, were the best team in the league. They finished the season out, their last 6, they were 3-3 because they had things wrapped up, and even they took their foot off the gas. I mean, they lost to 3 teams that weren't the greatest there either. So, look, it happens. That's one case. I'll look deeper this week to get us more stats, but that's just a quick look at a team that was in a very similar situation that finished 500 down the stretch. So,
Food for thought. Good to know. Thank you, Espo. I appreciate that. All right. So for our final segment, this one's going to be fun because we announced that we have a new partner in the house on Friday. And this partner is really fun, and it always seems to lead to some really good conversation. So welcome OG's Brands into the PHNX family. OG's is one of Arizona's first scratch-made cannabis kitchens and is dedicated to creating innovative and memorable cannabis-infused products that flavor life's journey. So it's not a one-size-fits-all with OG's. They've got a whole bunch of different products for everyone's different preferences or demographics or needs or desires. Their motto is flavoring life, and I think that's something that we can all get behind. And they also have a lot of really good flavors, so I'm told. I haven't tried any yet, but I smelled a couple of them because they dropped some product off by the office, and they smelled delightful.
Yeah. I agree. They did smell delightful, and I, as a kind of curious individual, as we talked about, I can't wait to sink my teeth into
I
these.
knew you were full of shit, Espo. I knew it.
My parents bailed on me. They wouldn't watch the daughter.
I told you. I knew that wasn't going to happen. You said it was going to happen yesterday. It didn't happen. I knew it.
You want to
give him time, Saul. He's
I've given him 6 months.
Maybe stepping into this space.
Saul, will you babysit the 5-year-old and I'll get high?
You know what, Espo? You know what? You don't even have to worry about that. Come into the office tomorrow morning, take an edible. I'll sit there and watch you for 8 hours. By the time it wears off, you can drive home. Everything's going to be just fine.
I promised the missus I'd do it with her.
See, always an excuse with this guy.
That's not an excuse. That's called wanting to keep my marriage intact.
Saul, just
I
watch
do not lie.
No.
Take Ro to the movies. Take her out to get some ice cream.
You know what?
And then
okay.
Out with her for a couple hours. Let Espo and his wife have a night.
I got you. You know what? I will watch Ro. I will take her out. Estella and I will take her out. We'll go to the movies. We'll load her up with all types of junk food. We'll buy her all types of dumb shit. And then I'll hand her right back off to you and be good to go.
You know what? I probably should just take it with the kid here. That sounds like a better choice.
Espo's like, never mind. I'm gonna be real paranoid with Ro with Saul. Oh no. Speaking of oh no, Gerald's here.
Hi guys.
Real quick, Gerald, real quick, because I do have to say this one final thing. So if you guys are interested in trying the amazingly delicious variety of flavors that OG's Brands has to offer, go to ogsbrands.com. That's OGEEZ brands.com to find OG's near you. What's up, Gerald?
Not a lot. How are you guys doing?
Good. I got like 6% on my phone, so let's go, baby.
All right, 6%. We'll make this quick then. Obviously, this was a concerning game. Monty Williams said after the game that this was the first time since he's been in Phoenix that he felt like for 2 games in a row, the Suns were just outworked, out-efforted, and just outplayed. He didn't feel like they brought the same level of intensity and played to their standard. Even with 3 guys out before the game, he had talked about, after that Grizzlies loss, they wanted to come out and play to their standard, because they've been doing this all season long where they've had guys in and out of the lineup and they've still played to a very high standard. Didn't do that tonight, obviously. It was one of those things where he liked the looks the Suns got from 3. If you look at the 3-point discrepancy, it was huge, and the Thunder just made a lot of shots. Part of that, you got to make your opponent feel you. Part of that is the scouting report is not going to be very extensive on a bunch of guys that barely play and are kind of playing for their NBA lives. But Chris Paul said he's never been in this situation where they locked up the 1 seed so quickly. He's played on a lot of great teams where their seeding has kind of been locked in, but never this early with 8 games left in the season where they kind of have to manage that, toe the line between staying in good shape and staying sharp, but also getting guys rest that they need and, keeping their focus on the playoffs. So I think that's what we're seeing from the Suns right now. They're having a hard time bridging that gap, but I'm seeing a lot of panic online, and it seems absolutely absurd to me that people are panicking over this.
Oh, you didn't see the chat earlier today, son.
I saw enough on Twitter, and look, this team started the season 1-3, and everybody was doing the same fucking thing they're doing now. They were panicking. They were freaking out. They're saying, oh, we're limping into the playoffs. Oh, we need to be concerned. They had the 1 seed locked up with 8 games to play. That is historically hard to do. This is a team that's trying to get to the postseason that, just wants to get guys healthy. They rested 3 starters today. They got 2 guys that they're trying to get back in game shape. I'm not saying it excuses what we saw today or what we saw on Friday. They were both very poor efforts and uncharacteristic of what we've seen from the Suns. But if you're panicking over this stretch from a team that has zero motivation to be playing or winning these games right now, they've already got their sights set on what matters. You haven't been paying attention to what this team is motivated by in the first place. They rise to the occasion for those primetime matchups. They love those games against elite teams. They take that personally. They need bulletin board material. The Grizzlies C team and the Thunder D team are not going to provide you with that material. So I'm having a hard time. I know that these were bad games. I know that it's concerning because they're coming at the end of the season right before the playoffs, but they still have 4 games to correct the ship. They're going back home to play the Lakers and potentially knock them out of the play-in at home with a chance to secure 63 wins. You best believe they'll be more motivated by that. And I think they will have their full complement of players would be my guess. I'm not panicking over this at all. Their defense took a horrible step backwards for the last 20 games of the season last year, and then it's what got them to the finals. Relax. It's going to be okay, I promise.
All right, I'm just going to play devil's advocate here for 1 second. I don't,
God.
for me, listen, it's not even that. It's just my way of interpreting the comments in the chat from today's show was not panic. It was a little bit of concern and frustration. I don't know that I would go as far as to call it panic, though. That's all I'm going to say.
That's fair. I didn't see the chat, so I can't speak to the chat, but I did see on Twitter people saying we look like a first round exit right now. People saying that this team is going to flame out, comparing this team to the fucking Cardinals who started the season 7-0 and then flamed out. This team is not the Cardinals. This is the best team in the NBA by a country mile. Stop.
Oh my God.
We are fine. This is not something to panic over. I promise.
The Cardinals stopped trying midway through their season, not when they had anything wrapped up. It's different.
Very different. I know as AZ sports fans, we're conditioned to be concerned and to be panic, and you can be concerned if you want. I'm not going to be. I'm not going to take a 3-game sample size, especially with the Warriors looking pretty good right now. If you look at what they're doing to Sacramento tonight without Steph Curry, they've been looking pretty decent over the last couple of games. I'm not going to take this 3-game stretch and outweigh it against the 70 plus that came before. Yes, it's the 4th time that this team has lost back-to-back games, but we have become kind of privileged as people who watch the Suns after what we went through watching game in and game out horrible teams, just hopeless teams. This is not that. We don't need to go that far. It's going to be okay.
Anything else, Gerald, that stood out to you?
No, we were hoping to get a hold of Ife Lundberg, but we never got a hold of him. So he made his NBA debut. Probably not the debut people were expecting. I think they were thinking if he got in, we were going to be up 20, not down 20. But yeah, hopefully we'll get to talk to him once he comes back to Phoenix, because I know a lot of people in Denmark were really excited about this, even though it came in a very surprising loss.
All right. Well, we are going to round out the show with a producer special just to put a nice little bow on this and hopefully have a little bit of fun. So Shane, what's your surprise for us tonight?
The producer surprise tonight is a simple question. If all animals were the same size, who's winning in a battle royale of all the animals?
Oh.
All the same size, huh?
Silverback. Silverback got that grown man strength, man. He would just absolutely tear somebody's limbs off their arms. I don't care what size they are.
It's a hippo. It's a hippo for me.
A
Yeah.
hippo? How?
Hippos are literally one of the most dangerous animals in the entire world, you guys.
Yeah, in the water.
And they're like they're crazy strong. They're super fast.
They're one of the only
That's
animals
my
that'll
vote.
attack a human and not eat it.
That's
well.
my
But
vote.
also,
you can't
guys,
be mad at it.
Guys, they're all the same size. You got to think smaller, like a fucking giant praying mantis. Are you kidding me?
Right, but that's what I was thinking.
That's not a
'cause, like,
fucking
hippo,
animal. That's not an animal.
It's an insect.
It's an
It's a
insect.
bug.
Doesn't it count?
No, that's not an animal.
That's not an animal.
No, it's an
Insect
insect.
is not an
It's
animal.
an insect.
If that
What
was
the
the
fuck is Shane
case, a
talking about?
scorpion would be the answer.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. Although that's what is a scorpion technically? Is that a crustacean? What is that?
It's an,
An
yeah,
insect
but
is
it's
not
not
an
an
animal.
animal.
Okay, according to Wikipedia, it says insects are the most diverse group of animals.
No.
No. Wikipedia.
What are they? They're totally animals.
Insects are not they're bugs.
Oh my god.
If
I don't
we
know,
count
that's
it as
just
an
what it
animal, I
says.
take scorpion every day, but I don't think we should.
Oh man. I got
Look.
Saul left.
If we're taking regular animals, this is gonna sound nuts, but I think a house cat, those are some vindictive assholes, right? Like
can be,
those things. I think they'd have a game plan that would come out and beat everything else.
Are you just trying to make me even more mad on this Sunday evening, Espo? Like,
Yes.
come on.
No, I hate house cats. All right, they'd be the winners. They'd find a way to just piss every other animal off and win in the end.
I just verified with my in-house authority figure on the subject of insects and animals. And insects
got whacked.
and insects are not animals. This is a bad omen when Espo's sign falls off the wall and hits him in the back of the head.
Okay, but it says that insects belong to kingdom Animalia.
They're
So
not
is that the-
animals.
Read
That's what I'm
the
saying.
definition of an animal in the chat right now.
Specialized sense organs and nervous system, able to respond rapidly to stimuli, feeds on organic matter.
What
I
is
mean,
an insect if it's not an animal? Don't say it's just a bug.
It is just a bug.
It's an
Oh my-
insect.
This is crazy. Insects are
No
definitely
way.
animals.
No.
I'm gonna do some research and I will let you guys know on the next show officially.
I mean, I will say this.
I'm gonna go to like
Everything
Nat
that
Geo Wild.
everything that I'm seeing online says that insects are in fact animals, but I refuse to acknowledge that. They're wrong. They're
Okay.
absolutely wrong.
Icon de Parfum said, "Told you we're a stupid fan base."
Look,
That was a great comment in the chat, Icon. Thank you.
look, if
man.
insects count, then everything we choose should be insects because they all have
Yeah.
venom and poison. Like, shit. Like, and what about a rattlesnake? If everything's the same size, I'm not screwing with a rattlesnake. Like, that shit's gonna win too. Like,
Oh my
everything
god.
else is out in that case.
Could you imagine like an 8-foot like centipede coming towards you down the street? Like that's
no.
that thing will tear your ass up. Like no.
Oh,
Okay, so what are
ugh.
y'all's choices? Are you still going with the silverback, Saul?
Yeah, because I'm going with an animal.
Okay, I'm still sticking with my hippos.
Um,
Espo, Gerald, where you at?
I'm going scorpion. If the chat's gonna demand that we count them, I'm counting a scorpion.
I was thinking like a tarantula, but I'm gonna go with a king cobra. I think a giant king cobra would mess some people up.
Just swallow everything or choke it to death. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I feel like if we wanted to talk insects or just things that have poison, like I think you guys are counting out like a black widow or like a brown recluse or something because they're so poisonous, and then they can literally use their webs to like fly around and like get you
or a
stuck
camel
and stuff.
Or a camel spider. You ever seen one of those things?
Those things are creepy.
They literally will they will sink their teeth into you and numb you so you can't feel the fact that they're laying eggs inside of you.
Ugh.
Oh,
Have you guys ever seen a
and then your
vinegaroon?
skin deteriorates. and
Oh,
it's-
gross.
Oh man, it's awesome.
Have you guys ever
That's
seen
awesome.
a vinegaroon?
No.
a what?
A vinegaroon.
Is that
A
a vinegar
vinegaroon?
bottle with legs? Like,
No,
what?
look it up. It is the most I can't even whenever I tell people, because I'm from Sierra Vista and Sierra Vista has vinegaroons.
Oh, that's
Look it up. It is the grossest
What's
looking
it?
thing
What's
alive.
how do you spell it?
Like vinegaroon, like oon.
Vinegar.
It is
Oh,
literally
dear
the nastiest
Lord.
thing.
What in the hell?
Oh no.
Yeah.
No. Oh,
Whoa.
And apparently the rumor is, I've never encountered one like that has been on me. I've seen them, but if it stings you, apparently you taste vinegar, and that's the rumor in Sierra Vista anyway. That's what I was told as a kid growing
Yeah.
up, and that's where it gets its name from. But I
I
don't know
do
that for sure.
I do like me some pickled onions, so maybe that's the move.
It looks like a
Yeah.
cruel
Ew.
joke. Like God took a scorpion, a cockroach, and a stingray and mashed it together. What the
I think
hell?
those are-
Don't put it on the
Look,
screen. I don't
that's
wanna see it.
crazy.
Oh.
That's crazy. It says animal underneath it. That's crazy.
Shut up, Shane.
Shane, first of all, you went to ASU, so shut up.
Oh, see now we're
You just
now
told,
we're in trouble.
you
I was
told
on your
half of our
side
show to just shut up.
I was on your side until
Not only half our
I
show, but
know.
also half of our
As
staff.
soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, "Oh fuck!" My bad, guys.
Oh, it's fine.
Oh
I think
my
that thing is.
God.
I think that thing is the thing that Professor Moody tortures in the fourth Harry Potter movie. You know.
Oh,
Nerd.
I was just waiting for someone to have my back, but Lindsay
Hold on,
apparently is still
guys.
straddling a fence somewhere.
actually,
Wow, Gerald, what did I do to you to deserve that? I
Still
literally
on
didn't
the
even
fence.
do anything.
Can we get out of here before I have
Wow.
nightmares about what like giant things that are just going to eat me? Like this stuff's
Yeah.
terrifying.
I mean, I feel like we should leave anyway because Gerald and I are about to fight, and I thought we
Oh
were
no, let's stay then.
friends.
Saul and I
Actually,
can just
no.
sit here. You guys go.
Yeah. I got
All
my
of
I
you
was
popcorn.
guys-
expecting
I'm ready.
support.
All of you
And I
guys
didn't
just
get it.
coming at me today. Espo with the house cat slander.
What did I do?
Saul with the claiming that insects aren't animals. And
That was
not
at you?
listening to me.
That was at Shane. That's not at you.
No, I think maybe I'm misremembering, but I feel like I was the one who said it first, and then you all thought I was dumb for saying it.
Well, you're not
We'll
wrong.
have to
So
check.
you
we'll have to
came at me
check.
for that, and now Gerald's coming at me for some Harry Potter shenanigans that I'll be honest, I didn't even hear you say.
Oh, well, so
I
now
was
I'm mad
busy
because
looking
you're
at
not
bigger
listening.
rooms. Anyway, thanks for
Oh,
tuning in,
man.
everybody. We appreciate you.
Therap-
next
you
show-
have all seen the therapist today. Good job.
Oh man, we're
Our
all
next
limping
show-
into the playoffs now.
Our next show is going to be on Tuesday, a pregame show before the Suns and the Lakers game tips off. So be sure to join us. Same place as always on our YouTube channel. Until you can follow me on Twitter at Lindsey Smith AZ. You can follow Saul at Saul_Bookman. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourget. And of course, you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
You're all gonna have nightmares one way or another after that game or after this talk. Oh hoy hoy.